Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. The most powerful voice on climate change for small island developing states, Mia Mottley, shines brightly. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 10th June 2022. Details when we return.
Hubbard's Motor Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Welcome back. The harmful effects of industrial practices by developed countries on the environment and small island states took the spotlight once again as Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley appeared on the Time 100 television program on the American Broadcasting Company ABC. Prime Minister Mottley highlighted the heavy financial toll that this is taking on underdeveloped nations with no access to grants or loan facilities to cushion the impact. Don Nicholas of the DBS News World reports.
Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley is quickly emerging as the most powerful voice on the international stage for standing up for small island states against the threat of climate change. Appearing on the Time 100 television program on the American Broadcasting Company ABC, the Prime Minister once again pointed to the heavy cost of climate change to small island states caused by industrialized nations as they engage in negative industrial processes that see the emission of contaminants that cause great damage to the environment. This burden, she lamented, comes with no chance of accessing grants or low-interest borrowing to cushion the impact.
When you ask us to deal with financing of net zero, people forget that we're already highly indebted countries, most island states. Why? Because we've been carrying the cost of climate for a while now. And we're carrying the cost of the G7, formerly G8 countries, industrialization on our balance sheets. And it's wrong. And nobody's making the room to ensure that we get access to grants. We can't borrow if we have no fiscal space easily, and the cost of borrowing is also prohibitive.
Looking ahead, the Prime Minister has as a top priority making life easier for fellow Barbadians and, by extension, people in the developing world. The consequences of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the ongoing climate crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the overlooked antimicrobial slow resistance pandemic, in which bacteria is no longer killed by antibiotics, as some of the most difficult challenges. In fact, this seldom talked about pandemic is directly responsible for 1.2 million deaths annually.
That's kind of where we are at today's point, and we need not only leaders in government, but we need ordinary people creating the noise and creating the pressure in order to move the needle in domestic governments, such that internationally we can have global financing for global public goods. We can ensure that the world is a safe place, that the world is an equitable place.
Prime Minister Mottley won the top UN Environmental Award in December last year, and she just won a landslide election for a second term and led Barbados' drive to becoming a republic in November 2021, removing the Queen as the head of state. For the DBS News World, I am Don Nicholas.
Meantime, Prime Minister Mia Mottley wants the world to see the challenges the Caribbean is facing and take action to help small island developing states. More in this Barbados Today news item.
She made the comments ahead of a bilateral meeting in Los Angeles with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
For most, they don't realize that this is a triple crisis that we've faced in the last few years. The common thread of the existential crisis of climate, we know that, we live it, we face it. The crisis of the pandemic, and we're not only dealing with COVID-19, but at the same time the reality that we're not getting people to invest in the antimicrobials resistance that we need to stop the 1.2 million people that are dying every year directly or 5 million indirectly. And now we add to that, regrettably, the food and fuel prices that have literally
started with the supply chain disruption in the pandemic, but exacerbated significantly with the war in Ukraine. And when you add to that, then you look at potentially the risk to a debt crisis and a financial crisis. So that the world, as Bob Marley would say, so much trouble in the world. And if we can come together and make that difference through the conversations that we have, you and I have particularly, as you said, your responsibility that you've accepted to help the United Nations Secretary General and the United Nations generally to allow countries to pursue their development, because that's all the sustainable development goals are. Ordinary development for ordinary people.
The Bahamas is among Caribbean countries attending the Summit of the Americas, and Prime Minister Philip Davis says he is particularly looking forward to the talks on the climate crisis.
This summit is dealing with 4 priorities: health, recovery and resilience, 1, our green future, equitable growth and prosperity, and strong and inclusive democracies. For us and for me, my emphasis in this regard would relate more to our green future, because as you are aware, climate change is real. We are one of the most vulnerable countries in the world, and we're still not seeing action matching words that find themselves on these various documents and declarations. And for that matter, we have made an intervention that's causing some concern here, where we need to have easier and equitable access to climate funding.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Health authorities in the Bahamas are investigating a possible case of monkeypox virus after a foreigner was placed in isolation after showing symptoms linked to the disease.
Media reports said the foreigner is believed to be a man in his mid-40s and it is not clear when he arrived in the country. Darville said he understands that the suspected case has been in New Providence for a few days. Additionally, the individual is being treated in isolation and samples were taken and forwarded to the Ministry of Health for further evaluation. The Health and Wellness Minister said while he cannot disclose the identity of the foreign national, he believes the individual arrived in the country on a British Airways flight. Darville said the case appeared to be an isolated one, adding that officials are keeping a close eye on the situation. The doctor, the infectious disease specialists, the surveillance unit are fully informed, and as far as we know, the case is isolated and any possible spread has now been under control completely and cases are being monitored very closely, he said. Symptoms of monkeypox include skin rash, fever, headache, backache, swollen lymph nodes, chills, and exhaustion that can last up to 2 to 4 weeks.
Immigration authorities in Florida are investigating the disappearance of several members of the Haitian Special Olympics delegation who were reported missing after checking into their hotel in Osceola County on Monday and were not seen again.
The Osceola County Sheriff's Office identified 6 members of the Haitian Special Olympics soccer team who have not been seen since around 2:30 p.m. at the ESPN Worldwide of Sports Complex. Osceola County is located just south of Orlando, Florida. The individuals are all below the ages of 25. The Special Olympics USA Games released a statement later on Monday, saying 5 of the 6 missing individuals were not athletes and did not have a disability. The 6th has an intellectual disability, per the report.
Come out and vote. It's not an election call, but rather a call for the labor movement ahead of Labor Day celebrations on June 19th, on which day unions will be bringing a motion of no confidence against PNM administration in Trinidad and Tobago. TV6's Renessa Cutting reports.
This rowdy-led administration must go. They must go. They must go. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And we call on the public, this not about wage, to come out in Tobago, to come out in Trinidad in your thousand and send a clear message that we are people too. We are people too.
Trade union leaders are calling on workers across both islands to make this upcoming Labor Day one that government will never forget. by voting on a motion of no confidence in the current administration.
Against Dr. Rowley and his government, against Dr. Rowley's leadership, against Dr. Rowley's stewardship, against Dr. Rowley's disrespectful approach to governance and his attack on the trade union movement.
The TNT Unified Teachers Association is also pledging support for the cause, but their grievance is much more personal.
And Tutor is saying the lack of confidence in the state, we have taken it a step further. The General Council of the association last evening took a decision. We have no confidence in the officials of the Ministry of Education either. And they moved that motion because the administration of the Ministry of Education is failing our educators, it's failing our students. Labor Day 2022 is about survival.
And in the face of mass retrenchment at TSTT, CWU President Clyde Elder is warning of more layoffs to come, as he notes with anguish the large numbers of persons seeking employment aboard the Royal Caribbean cruise liners.
And the Minister of Tourism indicated that they were overwhelmed by the amount of persons that responded. Where did you feel the people from ArcelorMittal went? Where did you feel the people from Caroni Green went? Where did you feel the people from TDC went? Where did you feel the people from Government Human Resource Services went? Where did you feel the people from Petrotrin went? Where did you feel the people from Chinma went? Where did you feel the people from TSCT went? And I could go on and on.
Meantime, the Nurses Association is apologizing for future disruptions in the public healthcare system. As its president says, nursing and midwifery personnel, being contract RHA workers, are not even being considered for negotiations under the CPO.
The government's excuse is that the association does not have RMU status, despite the association applying since 2015, 7 years ago, despite the association fulfilling every requirement to become RMU. The very government institution is denying us. So we stand in solidarity with our comrades in the labor fraternity, but also we want to inform the public that it is going to be extremely difficult within the health sector over the next coming months.
Trade unions say they will not rest until workers get their just due.
Borrow the damn money. Excuse my language, because that is for the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Renessa Cutting, TV6 News.
Conveniently located in the Grand Anne Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grand Anse will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.